Sarcoxie, Missouri is home to the state archery champions, and the town is doing something special to let visitors know. A Joplin group is creating a community for skaters and anyone who wants to learn how to skate. Plus, the Mattoon Youth Choir made a stop in Joplin, and we are checking out the tunes.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
I'm Mike Mahoney. Thanks so much for joining us on this Sunday evening. The Sarcoxie community has been working at raising $3,000 for an updated sign welcoming you to their community. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky tells us why this update is needed.
When you enter the town of Sarcoxie, you may notice a sign on the way in, underneath the city limit. State archery champions for the years 2013 through 15. The issue is, it's not accurate.
The Lions Club actually got it for us, had something to do with it in 2017, I believe. And we haven't had it updated since then, and our greatest accomplishments are not even on there, so it greatly needs to be updated.
In order to update it, not only did they need a lot of money, but they didn't have much time.
Yes, we recently found out that everything needed to be completed by July 31st.
That gave the team a week and a half to get all necessary paperwork in and to raise over $3,000. Now, with the help of some generous donors, these archers' hard work will be recognized, like Allie Nordell's 2018 National Bullseye Championship.
It feels really nice to be recognized by the whole town, because we've been working for this for years, and we're getting a lot of recognition for it, and it feels so good for all the hard work to pay off.
Or Alyssa Willis's World Championship achievement for hitting 3D animals.
I got lucky. I have a great team. It feels pretty great. I mean, knowing that the community supports us so much that they would be willing to donate for our cause is just amazing. We wouldn't be able to do half the things we do without the support from the community.
Other team members share the same appreciation for the community's overwhelming support. It's what gives Allison Darrow, an incoming sophomore, faith that she can count on the people in her town.
It's good to have support from so many people from all around the community and to know that they support our cause and that they're there for us.
And with the archery team's 9-year winning streak, the town has much to be proud of. In Sarcoxie, Bronte Sorotsky, KUAM News.
The city of Neosho announced today that there will be 2 road closures in town starting tomorrow. Hill Street will be closed to all traffic from Neosho Boulevard to Oak Ridge Drive. This is to allow work to be done to realign the street for new construction of the Neosho School District's Performing Arts Center. Sherman Street will also be closed from Oak Ridge Drive to Highland Place. It will be open only to residents. These streets will be closed until further notice. All right, let's talk weather. Let's talk to meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick.
Finally, a lot drier compared to the past few days, Mike. Most of us were able to enjoy quiet skies and warm temperatures, staying below normal to wrap up the weekend. 69 this morning and topping out at 87 this afternoon. It is nice to see absolutely nothing on the radar network and pretty quiet skies with any thunderstorms to the east and a good cluster of storms that worked across central Kansas. That just took a sharp dive south, so we did not have to worry about those thunderstorms this afternoon and evening. Temperatures are still kind of warm, but not terrible, mid to upper 70s right now. And a quick look at the day ahead of us. Certainly starts off nice, 66 degrees to start the morning out, but with a stubborn upper low around tomorrow, Mike, I can't rule out a few isolated storms. Otherwise, we're back in the mid 80s, but we are tracking some more summer heat on the way. We'll break down the week ahead here in a bit.
Thanks as always, Nick. A Joplin group is creating a community for skaters and anyone who wants to learn how to skate. Jomo Skates was created for anyone on wheels, whether they are roller skates or roller blades or skateboards. They aim to create a community of skaters within Joplin and the surrounding area. The group hosts meetups and anyone is welcome to join regardless of skill level.
We just wanted to create a community of skaters and also for any people who are new to it. Just because this pandemic, a lot of people were trying to find hobbies to do, and roller skating was a big one. And so we wanted to kind of get together in a safe way.
The group's meetups happen on a monthly basis, and if anyone is interested in joining them, you can find them on Instagram at Jomo Skates, which is where they will post about future events. The Mattoon Youth Choir made a stop in Joplin this morning at the Life Point Pentecostal Church. The choir is a group of 70 young people that for more than 30 years spends part of the summer touring the country and even Europe. Today they joined the congregation at Life Point Pentecostal and praised the Lord with their songs. Choir director Nick Sandoti says it goes beyond just coming together and singing.
Something that we've really strived to do is to connect with churches and minister together, not just come in, be a concert, pick up, come in, sing, leave, but to come and connect with churches and be in one mind and one accord with a true spirit of unity with each and every church.
The choir is based at the Apostolic Center in Mattoon, Illinois, a community of around 18,000. Welcome. All right, it's now time to honor one of our many four-state heroes, and tonight we recognize Mac Oldham. Mac served as a staff sergeant in the U.S. Army, and he earned a commendation from President Franklin D. Roosevelt for giving his life for his country. Thank you, sir, for your service, your bravery, your sacrifice, and for fighting for freedom. For more information on all our four-state heroes, or to nominate your own, just log on to komnewsnow.com. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, we have got an update on the deadly floods that are causing havoc in Western Europe. That's coming up right after weather.
Low prices.
It was nice to finally see a mainly dry day, and much needed after so much rain that we picked up on over the course of this weekend. You can see from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri, we kept that view pretty quiet throughout much of the day. Granted, partly to mostly sunny skies at times, but any rain, fortunately, that we had to deal with today was mainly just a few little showers. And right there, late this afternoon, early this evening, right around the western sides of Table Rock Lake. But again, this is much needed. A dry day overall, certainly after all the rain we picked up from Thursday all the way just through today, if you want to include the entire weekend. 3.2 inches on the average across the area, but needless to say, some of us saw way too much rain, between 3 and 10 inches of rainfall. Needless to say, resulted in all sorts of flooding. But this time around, we're not dealing with any heavy storms in our southern counties. We're seeing quiet skies and a dry scan on the radar network. That being said, some of the area rivers are still running a little high. Parts of the Verdigris, Neosho, let's say the Marmaton, Osage, Little Osage. Those are river flood warnings that will keep on running high until the latest warnings show them falling back below flood stages until we get to Friday. So it's going to take a while for that water to come down, but thankfully we do have more dry time so they can drop in the forecast. Mid-80s yesterday, we dropped back into the upper 60s and near 70 this morning, and back into the mid-80s this afternoon. Cloud cover outside at 7th and Range Line, but this is not indicating any rain on the way, so we're still looking dry in Joplin. 77, feels like 79 with the dew point still sitting in the upper 60s, so it's warm. It's a bit muggy as we're sitting in the mid-70s, close to 80 in a few spots still, but all this warmth, all this moisture isn't resulting in any rain. So we are dry for the overnight, but actually a good cluster of storms that work through western Kansas, still trying to hold on as they work into northwestern parts of Texas. Those will continue to ride right along the stationary front, which is finally pushed far enough to the south. But for tomorrow, still got to watch this upper low spinning just to the east of St. Louis. That might try to send a few showers our way tomorrow, but certainly nowhere close to what we had to deal with to start this weekend out. So we'll just deal with partly cloudy to mostly clear skies overnight as we drop back into the mid-60s for the most part. Then I think partly sunny skies will be the rule of thumb for tomorrow afternoon. As that upper low spins around, it'll try to send some energy our way. Some scattered storms could try to work in from east to west, mainly in our Missouri counties. Otherwise, those rain chances will fizzle away once we get past sunset tomorrow night. 66 in the morning, 80 by noon, afternoon highs around 85, staying cooler than normal thanks to a northeast breeze at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The extended forecast has us completely dry Tuesday and Wednesday. 85 Tuesday, 87 on Wednesday, maybe a slim chance for a storm Thursday, but the main story by the end of the week, Mike, dry weekend ahead of us, but back into the 90s we go.
All right, thanks so much, Nick. Unfortunately, things aren't so good across the pond. Catastrophic floods are slamming parts of Western Europe. Some leaders say this latest weather disaster should be a wake-up call concerning the threat of climate change. Fox News' Trey Yingst takes a look.
The search for survivors continues today after floods ripped through Western Europe. So far, 180 people are dead and dozens more are missing. The scenes of destruction stretching for miles in Germany, the Netherlands, and Belgium. Those who survived jumped into action to help with combing through the rubble.
We come from a town nearby, and the moment we saw the first pictures, we realized that the people here will need a lot of help because all this rubble you can see in the background won't be gone in one day.
Rescue workers had to carry out thousands of missions trying to save people from being washed away in what analysts are calling a once-in-a-generation event. German Chancellor Angela Merkel surveyed the damage today, saying it will take months to clean up.
It's terrifying. I would say there is no word in the German language to describe this devastation. However, what I have witnessed, and what is incredibly comforting, is how people are sticking together, how they are helping each other, the solidarity among people.
Merkel also used the opportunity to address climate change, saying the world needs to hurry up to address serious environmental problems. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Back here in the States, the Tamarack fire continues to burn in California, and unfortunately it is growing rapidly in Markleeville. The increase in flames forced more mandatory evacuations for some towns and closed multiple highways near the California-Nevada line. Officials with the Alpine County Sheriff's Office reported that the fire already burned around 500 acres as of Friday afternoon, and by Saturday evening that number skyrocketed to 21,000 acres. The fire started due to 4th of July lightning. When we return, COVID-19 cases are on the rise everywhere here in the U.S.
It's official. COVID cases are on the rise in all 50 states. In New York, I'm Alex Hogan with details on how some counties are bringing back restrictions in the response to the surge.
The U.S. hits a grim milestone in the latest COVID-19 wave. Every single state has now seen an upward trend in coronavirus infections. Health officials are ramping up efforts to encourage those who haven't gotten vaccinated to do so immediately. Fox News' Alex Hogan has more.
For the first time in 6 months, COVID-19 cases are on the rise in all 50 states. States with low vaccination levels, including Arkansas, Missouri, Nevada, and Louisiana, have the highest infection rates. And topping the list, Florida, accounting for roughly 20% of the new cases nationwide.
If you are not vaccinated, you remain at risk. And our biggest concern is that we are going to continue to see preventable cases, hospitalizations, and sadly deaths among the unvaccinated.
Experts are pointing to COVID-19 misinformation as a big reason why people are choosing not to get vaccinated. When asked about his message to platforms like Facebook on the spread of misinformation, President Joe Biden had this to say.
They're killing people. I mean, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated, and they're killing people.
As cases continue to increase, some counties are even bringing back COVID restrictions. Los Angeles County is reinstating mandatory masks in all indoor public settings, regardless of vaccination status. The policy goes into effect just before midnight Saturday.
I think it's disappointing for the people who have gotten vaccinated. You know, we were kind of excited things were getting back to normal, you know.
Cases are expected to continue to rise in the coming weeks, but there is one encouraging sign. States with the highest infection rates are seeing their vaccination rates steadily increase. Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Let's take a closer look at how President Biden is taking aim at social media companies. He is saying they are not doing enough to stop misinformation from spreading when it comes to the COVID-19 vaccines. Fox News' David Spunt has the latest.
White House officials are doubling, even tripling down on President Biden's rhetoric toward Facebook. The message is clear from the White House: vaccines are safe. The Delta variant of COVID-19 continues to be a problem, not just for the White House, but for the country. 2 weeks after the president declared independence from the virus on July 4th, numbers are going in the wrong direction. As of Saturday, according to CDC statistics, 160 million people are fully vaccinated. That's about 48.5% of the total population. The president is looking specifically to social media companies serving as a platform for misinformation. Administration officials say there are about a dozen people, literally around a dozen, that are responsible for around 2/3 of the misinformation online. They are called the Misinformation Dozen. Here's President Biden yesterday on his way to Camp David.
What's your message to platforms like Facebook? They're killing people. I mean, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated, and they're killing people.
While it often appears innocuous on social media apps, on retail sites, or search engines, the truth is that misinformation takes away our freedom to make informed decisions about our health and the health of our loved ones.
Facebook is fighting back against the White House. In a statement to Fox News, the company says in part, "We will not be distracted by accusations which aren't supported by the facts. The fact is that more than 2 billion people have viewed authoritative information about COVID-19 and vaccines on Facebook, which is more than any other place on the internet. More than 3.3 million Americans have used our vaccine finder tool to find out where and how to get a vaccine. The facts show that Facebook is helping save lives, period." White House officials say it's not only Facebook, they are targeting other social media companies too, hoping those companies do what they call the right thing. At the White House, David Spunt, Fox News.
We'll be right back with more news. Play turned into panic when a shooting outside the Washington Nationals baseball stadium sent fans, players, and coaches running for cover. It happened Saturday night in the middle of the Nationals and San Diego Padres game, prompting the game's postponement. Fox News' Mark Meredith is outside the D.C. stadium with details.
Saturday's shooting happened right outside Nationals Park on the street adjacent to the ballpark, but fans inside could hear those gunshots, many of them knowing instantly something wasn't right. They even ducked for cover, unsure of where those shots were coming from.
Everybody ran into a spot, and then I just hugged my wife and just laid on the ground with her. And we just laid there.
It all happened around 9:30. That was the 6th inning of the Nats-Padres game. Police say the shooting involved people in 2 different cars, again outside the stadium. 2 men believed to have been involved showed up a short time later at the hospital with gunshot wounds. And one woman who was attending the game was also shot. She was found by police as they were investigating outside the stadium. We're told she's going to be okay. D.C. police say they've stepped up security around the ballpark, but for many fans who were at the game, this shooting will not be easy to forget. Even the Nats general manager says this incident is having an impact on him and his team.
I love this city. You know, the city is my home. It can get crazy. We all know that. And we all want to feel safe. I can tell you that inside this ballpark, I feel safer than ever.
A number of Nats fans tell us they still feel safe coming out to the ballpark, but D.C. police said that they were stepping up security just to be safe. This is far from the only tragedy, though, that D.C. has been dealing with this weekend. On Friday, a 6-year-old girl was shot and killed not too far from the ballpark in another violent weekend. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki showed off her pitching arm when she threw out the ceremonial first pitch at the Washington Nationals game today. The Nationals are honoring different D.C., Maryland, and Virginia colleges throughout the season, and today was William and Mary Day. Psaki graduated from the school back in 2000. She was at the Nationals Park less than 24 hours after 3 people were injured in a shooting outside the stadium. And we'll be right back with more news. Don't go anywhere.
Prearrange your...
Welcome back. A thrill ride at Knott's Berry's farm in Southern California came to a grinding halt after a man climbed on top of its tower this weekend. The man climbed to the top of the Supreme Scream Machine Tower at the theme park around 7:30 p.m. local time and refused to come down. Buena Park Police and the Orange County Fire Authority cordoned off an area around the park and turned off all the rides while the man perched at the base of a flagpole. The man took off his shirt at one point and started twirling it around. Police said he eventually came down safely and was taken to a local hospital for evaluation. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And right after the break, gas prices are on the rise in some parts of the country, and so are fuel thefts. We're taking a closer look when we return.
Our fellow
Inflation and economic hard times may be fueling a new wave of thefts out west. Gas prices have spiked across the nation, causing some people to resort to stealing fuel. Folks are reporting that crooks are stealing their gas in the Colorado Plains area. According to the Weld County Sheriff's Facebook page, there has been an uptick of reports of gasoline thefts from private unsecured fuel sites, namely on farms and ranches. Officials are urging locals to secure fences and add signs and security cameras around storage tanks. A family in Philadelphia was able to get out of their house safely after someone set an American flag on fire. It happened around 2 o'clock in the morning Saturday, and Christopher Stewart was the first to see what was happening. He was able to get his own family out of the house and evacuate his parents who live next door. Police are currently investigating. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather.
After picking up so much rain Thursday, Friday, yesterday, it was finally nice to see most of us staying mainly dry as we wrapped up the weekend today. And that's what also allowed us to go from the upper 60s this morning to about the mid, even a few upper 80s this afternoon. Certainly because of no rain from our time-lapse of indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri. In fact, we just kept skies looking okay all day long. Clouds at times, sure, but thankfully that did not lead to any rainfall. All the rain chances for today were well to the south, east of us along the Mississippi, and a good cluster of storms dove straight through western Kansas and raced south on the western sides of the Sooner State. And those are working in northwestern Texas right now. But for us, though, all we had to deal with were maybe a few showers around the edges of Table Rock Lake, especially on the western sides of the lake. So thankfully, most of us stayed dry, and we need it and deserve it too. Because look at all the rain we picked up from Thursday just through today. 3.2 inches area-wide on average. But needless to say, some of you picked up at least that and as much as 10 inches of rain. So it's, again, all the more lovely to see no rain on the radar throughout the afternoon and evening, and we're still looking dry right now. That being said, it's going to take a while for some of the area rivers to come on down. In fact, all these river flood warnings, they're going to start dropping on Monday, but the latest they'll stick around is through Friday. So just be mindful of that as we continue on throughout the course of the week. But looking okay from 7th and Rangeline. Cloud covers working in from the west, but it's warm and muggy. 77, excuse me. Feels like 79 with dew points sitting in the upper 60s. In fact, everyone's mainly in the middle of the upper 70s right now as we deal with just partly cloudy skies working through. The good cluster of storms still trying to spawn some strong and maybe severe storms just working close to Quanah and areas northwest of Wichita Falls in northern Texas. Those are going to stay along the stationary front, which is finally far enough south where it shouldn't play a big role in our forecast for tomorrow. The upper low near St. Louis, however, that might want to throw a curveball our way by tomorrow afternoon. Let me show you what I mean with the future track. Again, the cloud cover working through, that'll continue to work toward the south and east. Maybe partly to mostly clear skies in the morning as those drop back into the mid-60s. Then comes Monday afternoon. We'll start it dry, but some of the energy from that upper low as it works through southern and southeastern Missouri could try to send some scattered thunderstorms, mainly on the Missouri side. Everybody else, though, I think we can get through much of the day on a dry note. 66 in the morning, 80 by noon, highs around 85. I don't think we'll deal with any rain chances on Tuesday because that upper low actually sinks toward Louisiana and close to Houston, leaving us partly sunny and warm with highs staying in the mid-80s. But as we go through Thursday, maybe a brief wave along the jet could give us a stray storm Thursday, but the main story heading into the coming weekend, drying out, but look at that upper ridge start to build back in. That will send us back into the lower 90s for Friday and Saturday and 93 on Sunday. So before we see the summer heat build back in, Mike, we're looking okay for the next few days. Mid-80s tomorrow and Tuesday and upper 80s through the midweek.
All right, thank you so much, Nick Kelly. And hey, we've got a little sports story here before we turn it over to Danny Terzer. Michigan college football players will be the first to make money off their jersey sales as players strike a deal with the retailer, the M-Den. That's the University of Michigan's officially licensed retailer who counts itself as one of the biggest licensed collegiate stores in the nation. And on Friday, the M-Den tweeted that for the first time, it was offering fans the option to get players' names on the back of their Michigan football jerseys. All right, stay tuned, sports fans. You are just 2 minutes away from Danny Terzer and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report. And Danny's got a ton of cool stuff headed your way, including highlights from those two pro baseball teams here in the Show Me State. Cards and Royals highlights are coming up.
Check out Bike Asked Better.
This is the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. Exciting news from Missouri Southern pitcher Zach Parrish. He is taking his talents to the next level. Parrish is signing an undrafted free agent deal with the Texas Rangers. Parrish excelled during his time as a Lion, winning multiple awards, including being named the Division II National Pitcher of the Year. He finished his collegiate career with 488 strikeouts and became the NCAA Division II all-time strikeout leader. Parrish flies to Texas on Tuesday to make it official. The Webb City 10U softball team is competing for the Missouri State Championship today. Webb City faces Lacoma East today with the title on the line. An action-packed third inning, Webb City already with a big lead. Cammie Rabel gets a hit. Eva Hines and Marley Jacks score to make it 8-1. Then Hines with a huge hit into the grass. Coach is waving everybody home. 3-run double. And still the same inning here, RBI single brings Hines home from second. Emily House now with a hit out to right. 2 more come across, 21-1. I think we know how this one ends. Webb City is the 10U state champions, beating Lacoma 23-2. The Webb City 16U girls are also state champions. They battled for the title in a best-of-3 series against DeSoto. Webb City won the first game 20-2 and the second on Saturday 22-4. Here's manager Chandler Queen on her team's achievement.
The talent is just something fierce. Girls are coming out and they want to play, and their passion and their drive is just amazing to see. They wanted to come out and they wanted to win, and they wanted that, especially our girls who are aging out. It's just a huge accomplishment for them, and that's how they end their season. And it's just one of those things as a coach and a manager, you just smile and you're like, those are our girls, and we're super proud of how they represented Webb City.
It's a big day for the Outlaws. It's their final home game of the season. Plus, Joplin is hosting Sedalia tonight, and the Bombers are in first place in the South. It's crunch time now as the postseason looms, and wins are that much more important. Tonight, the Outlaws have come back from a 7-0 deficit to pull within 1 in the 9th now. Logan Klein has a 3-run double, and Jared Toller has a 2-run double. The St. Louis Cardinals are 9 games back in the National League Central. Today, they host the Giants for the final game of the series. The series is currently split. Cards strike first in the 3rd. Paul DeYoung hits a solo shot to left. Home run number 13 for him. Next inning, Darren Ruff has an answer. He sends it into the upper deck to tie it up. And then late in the game, Harrison Bader reaches on an infield single. Jose Rondon scores the winning run. The Cardinals win 2-1, taking 2 out of 3 games from the league-leading Giants. The Royals and Orioles series is tied headed into the finale today. The Orioles get the shutout win 5-0. Hunter Dozier goes 4 for 4 at the plate today, but nothing to show for it on the scoreboard. Next, Kansas City hits the road to face Milwaukee for a pair of games starting Tuesday. Colin Morikawa wins the Open today, shooting his best round on Sunday, 4 under par for a 66, 15 under for the tournament. It's his second major victory, his first just 11 months ago at the 2020 PGA Championship. Morikawa makes history as the first player to win 2 different majors in his first attempt. And he's just 24 years old. That's a look at sports. We'll be back with more news after this.
Nominate. Welcome back. The pandemic is causing chronic respiratory illness for some COVID-19 survivors. And now, Colorado's health department says COVID-19 long haulers suffering from respiratory issues should be on the alert for poor air quality and the impact it could have on them. Fox News' Gabriel Franklin has more.
It is very reasonable to see that people who actually are having problem breathing with COVID anyways, because they have essentially acquired a chronic lung disease.
Doctors say COVID survivors should pay attention to the air quality this summer.
Not everybody who's going to get COVID is going to get that. So there are people whose lungs are going to be affected, and they're the ones who have the long haulers. They are coughing, they're getting more short of breath, and they're not back to their baseline exercise. They are more susceptible to it, and they should be extra careful.
And depending on where you live, the impacts could be worse.
There have been a number of good studies that show that people who live in more polluted areas in the world, like Southeast Asia, where they have really bad air, they had a higher mortality from COVID because their lungs were not healthy to begin with. And there have been some studies in the US that show the same thing.
Studies like the one the state health department did back in February. Using census data from 2010, they found places in Colorado with increased long-term exposure to fine particle pollution generally experience more COVID infections, hospitalizations, and deaths. Doctors say you may already have a solution to keep yourself safe if you struggled with COVID.
Absolute protection. Like if you really wanted to be absolutely safe from it, you should wear like an industrial quality mask, like one of those OSHA things. But simple surgical masks that we use for COVID are going to help you as well.
As the wedding industry continues to boom, some city halls across the nation are finally allowing couples who are looking to tie the knot to book appointments. That's giving lovers on a budget a chance to get married. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic forcing many couples to postpone their weddings, wedding venues, prices, and overall wedding expenses are on the rise. The website Tie the Knot Worldwide reports the average wedding reception budget has increased by an estimated $3,500. Some salon employees say they are holding onto their masks despite relaxed rules on face coverings. But as Fox News' Jessica Formoso reports, their decision has nothing to do with COVID-19.
Face masks have become a staple in the past year and a half, but as restrictions are lifting, including mask wearing for those fully vaccinated, there are some people who say they will continue to mask up well after the pandemic is over.
I want to keep this on because I want to protect my skin.
Hairstylist Madeline Veriguete of Terra V Beauty in Washington Heights says since she's been wearing a mask due to COVID, she has noticed her skin is not as irritated as it used to be.
A lot of the times, a lot of the products that we use, you can actually feel the difference now that we're wearing this. I don't feel the same as before. You know, my eyes don't get irritated and my skin doesn't get irritated.
Madeline has been in the beauty industry for 25 years and has developed eczema on her cheeks. She blames it on the harsh chemicals she uses on her clients.
With keratin, like we were speaking about keratin, and also the flat iron. Flat iron, sometimes when you flat iron someone's hair, it gets really, a lot of the fumes come out of the flat iron and it hits your face. So that's like heat constantly.
And she's not the only one holding on to her mask. Over at Allure Day Spa and Hair Design, they have no plans to get rid of their PPE.
Skin irritation after the chemical treatments and breathing problems. So while wearing masks, it helps them not to have this problem.
Dr. Janine Downey is a dermatologist.
A lot of my nail manicurists and my salon women that work with hair all the time, a lot of them get nosebleeds because the constant irritation of the chemicals.
Downey says protecting the face and eyes is essential for salon workers. Wearing a mask can prevent respiratory problems in the long run.
Wicked rosacea for some of my patients, which is a redness in the face. The rosacea for many people can later then lead to melasma, which is the dark patches on the face.
We are not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, you are going to meet some bears in Lebanon who have spent the last 10 years in a cage, but now they're on their way to a much happier home. And we've got the details in just 2 short minutes. Welcome back. A family in Tempe, Arizona is gearing up to move into their new and very special home. And it's special because it's the first 3D printed home built in Tempe by Habitat for Humanity. Fox News' Nicole Garcia checks it out.
When this is all done, this is going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot home. And take a look. This is what 3D printing and construction looks like.
I am from Tempe. I grew roots and I get to plant roots here.
Marcus and Sean Shivers are excited to become first-time homeowners and the first owners of a Habitat for Humanity 3D printed home.
The walls are all 3D printed. No wood or anything like that, and it's going to be very energy efficient. We're going to have solar panels, so they'll be good for the summers and the electric bills.
Unlike traditional homes, the frame and walls of this house are all concrete and built not with manpower, but with a 3D printing machine.
What we're trying to do is prove a technology. We're trying to prove that a concrete printer using a 3D graphic program, in other words, they take the floor plan, they convert it to a computer-aided design program, and that just tells the print head when to turn on the concrete, when to turn it off. You can see from the kitchen island, some of the stops in the walls. It's very precise and it's very fast.
He says the goal is to build homes in half the time and for half the cost of traditional homes. This house is expected to take about 3 months to complete, and the Shivers are planning to move in by November.
It's going to be holiday time, so we're planning on having Thanksgiving, Christmas with our family here in our home.
The FDA announces full approval for a lymphoma treatment in dogs. Lymphoma is a devastating cancer in dogs that currently only has a few approved treatments. The injection, called Tanovia, jumped through regulatory hurdles and met the evidence needed for full approval. The Food and Drug Administration's decision is aimed at improving the quality of life for your furry friend and to allow pets and their owners to have more time together. Lymphoma stems from abnormal growth of white blood cells. Though canine lymphoma affects fewer than 70,000 dogs here in the U.S., the disease accounts for up to 24% of all cancers in dogs. 2 bears caged in a Lebanon zoo for more than a decade are heading to the U.S., where they will have a new home in a wildlife sanctuary. The Syrian brown bears were rescued from a private zoo in the southern part of the country. Animal rights activists convinced the zoo owner to release the pair so the animals could have better living conditions. The bears, which weigh nearly 300 pounds each, were sedated, examined, and moved to crates for their journey.
So unfortunately in Lebanon, more than a year and a half ago, protests started and there has been an economic collapse of the country and currency has been devalued by more than 90%. So just as people are having a difficult time affording daily food and meeting just their caloric intake, obviously a zoo owner will have the same difficulties. The price to feed these animals has went up significantly, while the ability for people to come through the place and possibly raise some revenue has actually decreased.
The bears' new home will be at a wild animal sanctuary in Colorado. Hey, well, thanks as always for wrapping up your weekend with us here at your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And we will leave you with some footage of a group of baby hedgehogs having a snack. That's some formulated puppy milk with kitten food that they are eating. These little guys were rescued in the UK and are regaining their strength at an animal rescue. Have a great night. Stay safe out there.